Welcome to Looking Within, a podcast for the spiritual explorer in each of us. I'm Julie. I love to explore the inner life using contemplative practices, and I love to help others to do the same. In our time together, I hope you gain a sense of hope, meaning, joy, and love. As a Christian spiritual explorer, I hope to offer some thoughts to help you see God's presence and activity in ever-expanding ways. As you listen, ponder, and experience the divine, feel free to use the spiritual perspective you are most comfortable with in our practice today. Now, let's begin. I recently read an article by Arundhati Roy called "The Pandemic is a Portal." Arundhati Roy is an Indian author and a political activist involved in human rights and environmental causes. In this article, written in April, she reflects on how coronavirus threatens India and what her country and the world should do next. The entire article is articulately written and is well worth the read. But it's the final 2 paragraphs of her article that especially caught my attention. Quote, "Historically, pandemics have forced humans to break with the past and imagine their world anew. This one is no different. It is a portal, a gateway between one world and the next. We can choose to walk through it, dragging the carcasses of our prejudice and hatred, our avarice, our databanks and dead ideas, our dead rivers and smoky skies behind us. Or we can walk through lightly, with little luggage, ready to imagine another world, and ready to fight for it." End quote. Following the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis this past week, I write today as a privileged white woman whose heart and mind are attempting to open further and further in the desire to understand the world better, in order to understand the issues we face, the systems that perpetuate these issues, and my complicity in them. If the pandemic, as Roy says, will help us to, quote, "break with the past and imagine our world anew," end quote, then good will have come from this global crisis. I pray that our awareness and resolve will strengthen to increasingly and systemically address and alleviate the inequities that exist in income, healthcare, and human rights. I pray that it will become clearer and clearer to someone like me how I can actually be of help in this. Much, if not all, of my ministry area at our Christian church is focused on one's inner life. This is important, to be sure, as our inner sense of love and care for others and the world, and our connection to the light and love of the divine, all drive our outer behaviors and our beliefs about how the world around us operates, or should ideally operate. And though meditation, prayer practices, and a non-dual or contemplative lens through which to see life and the world are all very important, if they do not lead to increasingly widespread love and inclusion of all people and all of creation, then their worth is limited to our own comfort and pietistic needs, which is not at all how Jesus lived his life and hoped that his followers would live theirs. Our actions are meant to flow from a sense of abundance within us, a sense of having enough so that we can share with others, from a sense of trust in the love, care, and provision of God. Today, I just lay these thoughts before you as I ponder them for myself. I'm recalling Henry Nouwen's thoughts in his book, Life of the Beloved, when he wrote that our communion or relationship with God and our subsequent community and connection with others must flow into ministry, into caring for, tending, serving, and loving others. He would remind us that we cannot not minister to others if we are in communion with God and live in loving and inclusive community. As I write this, I'm recalling another part of Henry Nouwen's book that speaks to me right now, the part about community. He reminds his readers that each of us, every human being on the face of the planet, can and should know that they're a beloved son or daughter of God. Every human being, each made in God's image, should be able to hear the divine voice of love telling them that they are the beloved of God. And then the next beautiful step, which flows from each person's sense of being a beloved of God, is to begin more and more to hear the voice of love sounding in others too, that every person is equally beloved by God. I know this sounds too easy, too glib to just say that we'll all know this at some point. This type of inner, inherent knowing comes only after much work that still remains for all of us, for our society. So much dialoguing and brutally honest evaluation and discussion needs to occur between large numbers of people and in the very heart of our societal systems before we'll be able to collectively know belovedness and to mirror that to each other in our words, actions, and systems. I know this episode today is such a tiny thing in the midst of a vast and necessary discussion. Our part in this begins in our own self-examination of our inner and outer journeys. Let's think about this in our quiet moments together. In this quiet space and time, I'd invite you to gently close your eyes. I'll sound the Tibetan singing bowl, which will call you to look within. As you're listening to the bowl's reverberations, take 3 deep breaths. Then let your breathing return to normal whenever you'd like. Hear the sound of the bowl now. Let it center you. Let it remind you that God is here with you. Take a look at your life to this point. I've very much been doing the same. Look at both your inner journey and your outer self and actions. Both are important. Are you growing, both as a spiritual person and as a human being who loves, includes, and cares for others? Are the things that you read and view, or the conversations that you have, helping your heart and mind to be more informed, more open to evolving, and to maybe even changing your mind about something that you've thought was true or correct for a very long time? Notice any ways you feel a nudge or a call to help create a world that truly loves and cares for everyone. I'll be back with you in about 3 minutes. I'd invite you now to take a few deep breaths in and out. In and out. Let these breaths fill you with strength and energy. Hear me sound the Tibetan singing bowl, and as the sound of the bowl reverberates and slowly dies away, you can gently open your eyes, remaining still for a moment longer. Before I offer some closing comments, I want to thank you for listening and for your support of this podcast. Looking Within is a part of Gloria Dei's Contemplative Practices Ministry and is made possible through the generosity of your financial gifts. Contributions can be made by texting 855-461-0209 or online at gloria-dei.com/giving. Thank you so much for your financial support. We've covered a lot of ground today, and I am highly unqualified to unpack any societal issues that I've mentioned. Today, I just wanted to invite you into my own self-reflection on why it's important to have spiritual practices that we use and that fill our cup and connect us to God, but to not stop there. Our spiritual journey and relationship with the divine connects with and flows back and forth with how we live in community with our fellow human beings. I'm seeing more and more that as I connect with the source of love, with the divine, I cannot help but have my antenna up to spot systems and occasions when my fellow human beings are not loved and cared for as they should be. Perhaps a worthy intention for having personal spiritual practices is knowing that not only do they connect me to God and provide the spaces in which I can be refilled with God's abundance, love, and care, but that they will also prepare me to go out and to compassionately help on a collective scale. Truly, our divinely filled presence, awareness, love, and courage are needed today as never before. Thank you for making time for your inner self today. Whatever you've discovered and experienced, carry that with you in the coming days. You can find more episodes at our website, gloria-dei, that's DEI.com/Looking Within Podcast, or subscribe through your favorite podcast app. We'll see you next time.